Hello, and welcome to the Green Island Podcast. I'm Bernard Sheehan, joined as always by my brother James Sheehan. We're the authors of Hard Border, that is in the Green Island novel series, available on Amazon and also Barnes and Noble. And that discusses some things going on in Ireland around the time of Brexit. And we're going to continue updating on what's going on not only in Ireland, but also essentially kind of around the world, but using Ireland as our understanding of it being the laboratory for a lot of this stuff that happens. So, James, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, well, so we'll just have a general chat today and just keep it nice and easy. I don't think there's much current events going on that has
No, there's not a
always
whole
they always have their fingers in their part,
Definitely not a
you
lot,
know?
not a lot going on out there right now. I mean, there's you've got that new Taoiseach, Simon Harris, officially in Ireland, and he's I think trying to kiss some butt and ingratiate himself. But really, not a whole ton going on there. There's not big protests, but there still is that essential kind of underlying current always of dismay and upset. I saw something there the other day, maybe it was just 2 days ago, people in Killarney, who were there as tourists just getting mugged out of the blue. And you don't see that, at least when we were growing up, you didn't see that much. And now it seems to be something that's kind of a regular occurrence. And when you think of Killarney, you think of it being picturesque and horse and trap and all of that, and really having it being for tourists. And but even those sites are really being invaded and not being as safe as they were. So I think that's just kind of that general issue going on with Ireland across the board.
Happening everywhere, isn't it?
It's
100%. I mean, I've never heard of that. I mean, that was just form. I mean, you get your bike stolen maybe, but there was never kind of on the street muggings.
yeah,
So it's seems like it's the world over now. I mean, all the cities in America are pretty much lost and everybody's confused. But I think you'll see Simon Harris probably making his trip over to Zelensky soon to kiss his ass
yeah,
and show, and stuff like that. I mean, it was kind of funny because like going off a topic just a bit, but England like gave their most money to Zelensky after the US, and the US handed over another 60 billion, while England, that has probably what the population has, handed over 3 billion.
yeah.
So it's like it's an American war. It's just absolutely crazy. The whole thing. And you just the politicians voting for it, like, so 80% of America don't want any more money going to Ukraine, but yet the politicians are voting for it. It's just absolutely nuts, you
Right.
know. But yeah, I would see Simon Harris having no problem. But again, as all the other ones, jumping ship. But we'll keep it light today, and
Yeah.
just a little Conor McGregor watch. I saw like a video come across my screen about maybe his next movie might be Popeye, or at least they were doing kind of trailer teaser of him being Popeye, which could be nice because you could hide his accent in that silly
Yeah.
Popeye accent, and kind of he's pretty big and stuff like that. So I think Robin Williams do it much good on the first Popeye. So maybe Conor McGregor might have a shot at it.
Yeah, that would be interesting considering Popeye is not a character you think of much anymore. I mean, if you're expecting kids to go, or who knows even who Popeye is, I mean, we kind of potentially grew up with him, but I don't think kids really have lately and wouldn't even know that as a character. So that's an interesting thought, but I can't see anything like that honestly going, no matter who's, unless they're going to do it super on the cheap. But I don't know.
Exactly. I think they're even making a He-Man. He-Man
Yeah,
might be coming out.
yeah. So there is a
Maybe
He
Chris
Man.
Hemsworth or something like that.
Oh, a live action. Interesting. Okay.
Oh
Because
yeah, I thought it was a live action, right? I think so.
there has been one that was out like last year, maybe 2 years ago. I think it was on Netflix. It was a remake of the cartoon, and that was just panned. It was kind of like at the height of wokeness, and He Man was killed out of the gate, and it was really like, one of the side characters, or, like kind of his. I think there was like a lady side character who was essentially the the hero of that whole story. So it's just like it's supposed to be He-Man. What are you guys doing? He's gone and now he's out of the picture. But that was essentially 2021, 2022. That was everything. That's all they were doing, and it's still going on
Can't
to
have
this
Prince
day.
Charming in there. You can't have the
No,
guy in there. Snow
no.
White's not going to have Prince Charming, so you can't have some guy saving the damsel. But I don't know if you remember in the 1980s, they did make a He-Man live action movie where he was kind of teleported to like the real world of. Do
Okay.
you remember that? I'm just getting glimpses in my head right now
Was
about
Dolph
that.
Lundgren? Was he He Man?
I don't know. I don't think it was him, but it was something like that.
Okay.
I'll actually have to look it up, but I'll pop it up when we kind of go
Yeah.
to publish this and see, but I think there was a He-Man for sure. It's coming back to my head because it was such a vital cartoon growing up. I mean, I love if they made a Thundercats live action would be pretty awesome,
That would be
you
pretty
know,
cool, actually. That was
with
a pretty
no
cool
and
show.
like that. Yeah, because like my favorite episode was when he had to become like leader and he had to do all the trials and he had to run faster than like Chitara and he had to beat whatever the other guy was. And I still
Pantera.
remember those kind of, it was probably the best cartoon ever. Yeah, Pantera. Yeah, exactly. The guy who drove the cool car. And that'd be a cool live action. You could probably do quite well, get a few movies out of that, if they did it right, of course,
But
because as
that's
we know, Marvel's gone to hell.
Yeah, and that's the question, right? That nothing is going to be done right these days. So if you want to see something adapted, you don't want it adapted now because it's going to just be crap. So why bother? Before you could hold out hope? I know we're going off topic here, but there's Deadpool and Wolverine. That actually looks kind of cool because they've got Wolverine in the old outfit from the comic books. But that took 20 years for that to happen. The first X-Men movie was around 2000 or so. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's
And
interesting
they're
to
big
see.
mates, those two, like
Yes,
Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds. They're always doing these kind of comical things on or whatever Instagram or kind of commercials. But I think they almost had to make one. But everybody likes Deadpool because it's kind of funny. He does do a good job, and it brought him back. I mean, he was struggling to make any type of film after like Green Lantern and all that failed,
right.
and Deadpool making a million a movie, and then right after that he was back to 20 million and getting these gigs, and now he's up to like 700 million with all his kind of cell phones and vodkas, and so I mean, just showed Deadpool kind of made him back, showed him that he was really,
Yep.
which was kind of. I don't know if you ever saw that show, Two Guys and on a Pizza Place or something. Berg was his
Sure,
name. He was
sure.
pretty funny.
He was.
That was and Zoolander or whatever that was, that movie where he was on campus and he was kind of National Lampoon's movie. I forget what it was called. It's just slipping my mind. Where he was kind of like the king of the campus.
Yeah,
But those were
that's
funny.
those were funny. That was actually based off of like a comedian who's still touring and is a big deal. His name is Bert Kreischer, and that was based on his experience at like Florida State or something like that he went to. So he was
Okay.
kind of the one who was on year 6 and kind of the party animal on campus, and he still is kind of a party animal, to be honest with you, even though
Awesome.
he's probably rounding the corner to 50 if he's not there already. But anyway, so I don't know. I don't hold out a lot of hope for anything good being adapted. I might go see that one, Deadpool and Wolverine, because that actually does look pretty good. But other than that, I'm not seeing anything out there that looks interesting at all.
And when you say see it, you're actually going to go to the theater, or like you'll wait till it comes out in some type of rent situation? Because I'll probably never go to the theater again.
Yeah, I
There's
don't
really
know.
nothing for me to ever get. Like, I'll just wait
I
nine. Like, I'd never pay $25 for a movie ever again.
Yeah, I hear you. And I would typically go to something like a matinee or something like that if I was going to go. But I hear what you're saying. But I do miss the movie theater experience, to be honest with you. I like going to the theater and getting popcorn and all of that. And it's just something I miss. But you're right. Might just wait.
Well, I did what was it, the Marvel one, the last two movies, or the last second to the movie, what was it, the end or what
And
was it, the
Endgame,
Avengers
yes,
Endgame, and it was like that was fun, and I was happy to pay, but there we are. I
yeah,
don't think I'll be back to the movies again.
yeah, that was it.
I mean, I waited for Oppenheimer, and I was glad I waited. You
Yes,
know, and I seeing some critiques of it, and a lot of people were like, "This is not good," after
right,
the fact, that this is not a good movie, and it's not actually fully real, like historically accurate.
right.
A lot of the stuff as well. So it is what it is. But I was glad I waited, and I waited for Top Gun, and I was waited for Amazon for the Conor McGregor Roadhouse, and happy I do. Like it is what it is. No rush out. You
Yeah,
know.
that's true. That's fair because they do come out so quick or relatively quick. And it's like, whatever. And then you're in that cycle of watching the stuff that came out on DVD or, came out on streaming. So you might as well just wait.
Yeah, and like Hollywood is virtually dead. I mean, it's not dead, but like the gig's up now, No
Yeah.
one really trusts anybody, and Disney's like down 40% when it's 100 billion. I mean, whatever, like Ron ballpark figures, but it's pretty crazy. But like the really with all the stuff going on with the rapping world and everything coming about was probably twice as bad. You just don't really trust any of these guys anymore, let alone will even be a good movie. I'm just kind of skeptical, and that's why I'll kind of just they're not going to make as much money. I
Right.
don't think like the gig's up, but it allows an opportunity for like independent studios, like all these actors are setting up their own studios because they can't get that acting gig anymore. They have to kind of make it themselves almost and
Yep.
save up and get outside money from China and make their big blockbuster movie. And great, good on you. Maybe everybody has skin in the game then.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Every time I think of going to see a movie, my wife will turn to me and be like, "You're going to give them your money," and I'm just like, "You're right. I can wait." So it's as simple as that. It's not like I've got like you say those last two Avengers movies. It's like, oh, I want to go see them. I don't want to like have any spoilers. And now it's like I don't care. It's like by the time if I heard any spoilers for something, by the time it actually came out streaming, I probably forget what those spoilers even were. So who cares?
100%. It was more like that trilogy was, or that situation was just different because you invested a lot of time in Iron Man and stuff. You wanted to see how it all came together.
Yep.
And I'd say there's no other. I mean, I haven't seen Black Panther 2. I will not see Black Panther 2. I haven't seen like, Miss Marvel. I mean, they're just dead. Even if I had Disney before I canceled it, it was free and I still wouldn't put the time into it
Right.
to look at it. My opportunity cost. I'm just not going to devote anything to it, and it'll just piss me off if I kind of wasted 2 hours. I'd rather watch Roadhouse again. you know?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely stuff out there, and there's good TV shows and things like that that are actually being made, and so
Like The Gentleman. We might as well, like, again, that's a good Irish thing to talk. Touch. I'm starting The Gentleman again. I finished it, and I'm just like, there's really nothing good out. I might just start it up again and just have it in the background,
yeah,
why I'm kind of just putting around because it's either that or YouTube. And I'm kind of just tired of YouTube a little bit
no,
shorts, but except for Hard Border, which I'll
exactly.
watch all day
What
long.
are we talking about here? Come on.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Exactly.
but yeah, so that's pretty good. Like you say, it's better to maybe just start that one again and watch it because there was a lot I think that I missed the first time around. There's some good spoilers as you get into it. It's just like, oh yeah, I didn't see that coming, and maybe watching it again will be like, yeah, you can kind of get a better. But I think that's a lot of Guy Ritchie stuff too, right? Where it's like, yeah, there's some good kind of reveals at the end.
100%. Absolutely.
So yeah, I don't know how far you got in it, but for those of the folks out there, I know we try to have like an Irish connection, and there is a pretty good Irish connection in this. There's travelers that are working with with the main character to basically move drugs all around Europe, and that's kind of pretty cool to see. You know that spoiler alert. You know they can kind of go wherever they want to go. No one's going to bother them and really, inspect them all that hard.
Yeah, and like the travelers, they have so much junk with them when they travel that like, you're not going to go through the whole caravan of what kind of they have in their cars and stuff like that. But they were Irish travelers, which was good. And like, they're a prominent character. And it just shows like they're not really that Guy Ritchie, Brad Pitt pikey. They were Irish guys, which I was pretty surprised instead of more English.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there were English travelers. To be honest with you, I just assumed that was kind of a an Irish thing.
I don't know. I mean, you see, what was that one with the Guy Ritchie movie where Brad Pitt was in it? Was it like, where he was the boxer and he was the pikey, and it had Jason Statham in it, which is a guy I like to watch. But
Yeah,
it was
Snatch. Snatch.
Snatch, exactly, exactly. A lot of good people in that. And yeah, they were English pikeys from what I understand.
Okay.
And he did a great job. Like they were really good. They did good acting, but it's nice that like The Gentleman's just easy watching. I like those Guy Ritchie movies because you can watch them again.
Yeah,
They're kind of always a good watch. Like the Gentleman movie with Matthew McConaughey is a good watch, and you can watch it again.
it
And it has
is.
all types of characters and different nationalities. And welcome to London. I mean, London's not white anymore. It's multinational, and it's fun to watch. And you know, it just shows like even the English. The what I like about this is like the English guys, even though they're lords, they're not millionaires. They
Right.
have the big house, but they get taxed like everybody else, and it's almost like a status. But as he says, it has no value to it. But it really does have a value to some degree. But I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of people should watch it. It's a real good watch, and I'll keep on watching. I'll watch it again, and you do really get a lot of good stuff out of it. I'm glad they made them a show, and I think they'll be watch. I think it already got renewed, so it
Oh,
should be
good.
really
Good.
yeah for another season. You
Because it
know,
is good.
it,
I mean, it's something that's just like, okay, here's a situation this guy's kind of thrown into, and it's a really good setup. It's got a lot of the same notes as the Gentleman movie, but it's definitely different, and the characters are super cool. And it's like, yeah, you want to see what these people are doing. You know what I mean? It's you want to follow the story, which most of the time you really don't. And they've got a strong female lead there, but it's not like she's kind of a girl boss and kind of going along, and she just is kind of doing what she does because that's how she was raised, and it's not like in your face feminism the way a lot of this stuff has been the last couple of years. Just like you brought up, like the way Black Panther 2 was, where I mean, my understanding is it was basically all centered around the women in Black Panther's universe because unfortunately the actor had died and they didn't recast him. So it's just like, okay, well, it's not really Black Panther then, is it? It's Lady Black Panther, and that's just not the same thing.
100%, and kind of going off the technology. And I mean, I don't want to get around that, but I mean, it just says like this would have been the real Africa if like, slavery didn't happen or something. It's just like, no, it's kind of like Wakanda or whatever, and how it should have been so advanced. And it's just like, nah, that's not really kind of how it works. But the whole thing just set me off. I'm just like, I just don't like confrontation in
Mm-hmm.
this regard. I'm just like, why can't we just have good, fun stuff? Black Panther was cool.
Yeah.
Wakanda and all the technology was cool. And it was kind of like you were onto a winner. You didn't have to F it up. But I think the people in Hollywood they're not even brainwashed. They were forced to be brainwashed. And now they're so confused. Because I do feel sorry for the writers that are kind of like, okay, I got instruction from the head studio that we have to put this crap in. And then they're all being fired because they're putting like, now we don't need you anymore because woke is gone. It's like, well, I didn't want to do woke to begin with. You made us do it, and now we're all screwed. And you got to feel sorry for kind of, even though they're not my allegiance to kind of probably politically aligned, everybody's a person and everybody has to pay bills. And, people, the higher ups are just fucking with everybody, excuse my language. And it's just like, it's for some kind of, agenda that no one really is kind of privy to. It's except the elites or whoever's playing ball. And I think everybody's just getting cleaned out now. And from what I hear from California, I mean, it's going crazy. If you have money, the lawyers are like, like for example, you have money in California and you have, I know I'm going off topic, but you have money in California and you like hire illegals to kind of like, do your lawns and do your maids and whatever, and all good.
Hmm.
That's what they do and that's why they're there. And the illegals again. But now the lawyers are going to the illegals and just like, we want you to sue your rich employers. It gives us a
Interesting.
job. It gives us a job. They're going to settle with you for, we'll make up something, and they'll pay you more money. And so the lawyers are like the scum of the earth. I mean, they're literally just going to these illegals like, oh, you're a maid in this big house. Like, would you not consider bringing a lawsuit? And don't worry, we'll protect you. We'll pay for everything. And it's really just to get us fees because, we're going to split it 50-50, but really we're going to take probably 80% of it. And it's kind of smart because the illegals don't have any real assets. So it's just like, when you bring a lawsuit against someone, the other person has a right to kind of countersue you then if you lose.
Right.
But if there's no assets there, it's kind of like, well, what am I suing for? So it's like putting the rich guys on the fence all the time. It's crazy. And yet people don't really see it coming. But the lawyers are just, wow, the demons in the world
Yeah.
now.
Well, California, it's a special case, but back to the writers there, it's even worse than you describe because if you they obviously you're going to want like a woman of color, and then maybe either they're transgender or they're gay or lesbian or something like that. But you can't write about that unless you are one of those people, unless you are transgender. You can write about transgender then. And if you're black, you can write about the black experience, that sort of thing. But so if you're like a white guy, good luck. You're not getting a job and on like a 5-man writing team for like a TV show or whatever it is, you're not getting any kind of gig. So it's like very um, it's kind of crazy. It's not based on talent anymore. Not to say that the white guy was going to be the most talented, but it's got all to do with identity to the extreme. So that's part of the reason so much of this stuff just sucks is you've got people who are writing and directing who have zero experience in anything. And then you're just coming along, you're like, oh yeah, we got this, Latina director who did some kind of short in Brazil, and now she's directing a Marvel movie. It's like that movie's gonna blow. That's the way it
A hundred
is.
percent, 100%, and it's like it really is attacking the white young man that kind of like has the family. I mean, I don't feel sorry for these writers because they all voted for it, but I mean, just seeing like the overall economics of what's going on with all these refugees coming in. I mean, prices are going so high that like you almost need like a side gig, a side hustle to kind of maybe cover your bills, and like so maybe you want to go to Amazon and drive for them. Well, Amazon and all these people aren't hiring. They're giving it all to the refugees. So it's like they're kind of closing out the doors for anybody to kind of make more money to kind of supplement income and stuff like that because the refugee or not the refugees, but the illegal immigrants are taking up those low kind of hourly jobs that maybe you need to kind of supplement your income. Whether it's like driving for Amazon on a flex or something like that. It's being squeezed where like the white guy is really being squeezed out. And it's like he might be the most talented. And I sure don't want to ride in a Boeing jet anymore. Or should we say even the air traffic controllers you probably saw the other
I
day, like
did.
4 flights almost crashed together. And it's just like, yeah, welcome to it. I mean, people are going to start dying for this DEI crap. And, but people are still voting for it. Like, I don't know how Joe Biden is neck and neck with Trump. Have you not been living here for the last 3 years? It's just crazy. I don't understand what's going on through people's minds now. Why they keep on allegiance. It's like it's not going to get any better. In fact, it's going to get worse because the second term is only going to be like, well, I got a right to now or a mandate, as they would say, to fucking go to work on you.
Yep.
Whereas like we're going to stop the white guy from working at all, and then he'll go bankrupt. We'll take his houses and then we can move the refugees in and look how great we're doing. We're stealing from guys that were, studied and have school loans and stuff like that compared to these guys. It's driving me freaking insane. And yet there we are with like Ukraine and like they can't do our own border. It was the biggest thing for Trump to build a wall. He needed $15 billion to do it. They stopped him at everything. And yet we can't stop them from sending 300 billion over to Ukraine where there's no checks and balances and they have no chance of winning the war. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't know. And they're all voting for it. And, it's just absolutely nuts. It's and like you kind of feel somewhat hopeless, but and that's what Hollywood. And as you see, it's just like giving it, and everybody's suffering, and it's just crazy. I mean, even just from an entertainment standpoint, you don't want that stuff. You want to kind of lay back and just chill out, and it's just everywhere you go now. It's you can't get away from it. I guess maybe that's the point.
That is the point for
Create the
sure.
vision.
That is the point, absolutely. And like you said, and you've pointed this out, this year is the most elections around the globe, and you're feeling it in the U.S. You're feeling it in Ireland. I hear, in some of the other kind of like the English-speaking countries in the world, you see like there's a minister trying to, I think it's either New Zealand or Australia, trying to put Elon Musk in jail for speaking, and it's just kind of crazy. But this is what it is right now, and it's going to be only ratcheting up. I mean, we're not even into May yet, and at least here in the U.S., we got to go all the way to November, and then have another. That's depending on the outcome of that. There's going to be like another 3 months till the new president is actually starting their new term. So it's like a lot can happen. It's all going to be insane.
It's all going to be insane. And Joe Biden's not going to let that. I mean, if there's any, I mean, he's losing kind of demographics, left, right, and center, black vote, Latino vote. Again, he has a strong hold on the women because they love their abortion for some reason. But it's absolutely just gone bonkers. And so he will start a war. He will start a war. I believe he's already sending like black ops troops. I mean, there was a YouTube video out there just kind of yesterday that Putin rushed to like the Kremlin because apparently now there is U.S. boots on the ground in Odessa, which is kind of like where that's the next that's Putin's target. And if you listen to like the General McCarthy's or whatever on YouTube, they're like it's virtually his. Like it's only a matter of kind of a month or two before he takes Odessa. And apparently there's like U.S. troops there, NATO troops, and it's just like and NATO is like they're going to get into a war and it's going to suck everybody in. And as you can see with the demonology of like voting for this Ukraine package, it's like, well, we don't want to send our boys and girls there. We want to just send our money. It's just like, you don't have to send either, right. Let them figure it out. It's lost, but there's something crazy going on. And I don't think if I was a betting man, the election's not going to happen. There's going to be something that they say, we're in a war now, wartime powers, and we need to cease elections, just like Zelensky's actually doing in Ukraine.
He did.
There's no elections there anymore.
No elections.
After he went after the churches and so it's a game plan that seems to be working, and let's get everybody agitated. And I think it is backfiring a bit with all the university stuff going on and all like the Israel versus, Hamas war and like all that, where all the universities are up in arms, that maybe they can't get that BML riots going anymore because they're all fighting amongst each other. And maybe that's kind of what God has in plan, but the world's gone mad, and Joe Biden and the communists have no problem letting everybody die as long as they stay in power, in my opinion. I think it really is. It's just gone crazy now. And, they're just spurring it on. I mean, where was it where it's just like no money for Ukraine until the border's done? I know we're getting off topic, but I mean, it all just comes back around that everybody's in the same boat, whether it's Ireland, America, England, they're all having the same issues in the Western world, right. Australia, where the flood of immigrants coming in is nonstop, and they're taking the lower grade jobs, and eventually they're going to take the upper grade jobs. It's just a matter of time,
Well, you had said, you're worried that Biden's going to start the war. I mean, he already has. I mean, that's what the Ukraine war is now. It's just a matter of ratcheting it up between that and what's going, like you said, Israel and Hamas down there in Gaza. All of that just needs to be ratcheted up. And here we are. So, so much for our lighthearted episode here, but that's just kind of the way it goes. There's just, even though there's not a whole lot going on that we can really point to, like we could with the Irish referendum, it's just this low grade kind of still getting worse and worse. And this stuff getting more and more, heating up as each and every day goes by. So that's, like you say, that's not just in the U.S., that's Europe, that's in Australia, the English speaking countries. And all we can do is just talk about it and continue to document it and really look to see what's going to happen from here.
Yeah, and again, we'll keep this podcast light. Maybe the next one we'll talk about the foods of Ireland, and
Mm-hmm.
like I know I want to talk about travel in Ireland and like the good, good tourist spots that you want to go before the world ends. And I actually just because I thought we were hoping to talk about kind of the food of Ireland, but just miraculously, I had the morning off and we had a full Irish just the first time in like 3 months, and
Nice.
man, it hit the spot. So we'll talk about that in the next one. And I'm actually thinking about starting to make scones because you can't get a scone here compared to Ireland. So we'll talk about that on the next episode and keep it lighthearted. But it does go off the track because welcome to the real world. If you're not thinking about it and you're not addressing it, you're living blindly. And I think it's time people start waking up, because that's why Joe Biden still has a legitimate chance of being president next time around, even though, because I don't know what people are thinking otherwise. It's just like your income's gone down by $4,000 a year, or 5,000 or 10,000. It's like, why? What else are you thinking about? The game, this crap, distractions. It's just crazy.
Yep. So, in the meantime, we'll look at what we're going to be talking about. Try to keep it lighthearted next time. Probably watch the gentleman again, and at least be able to kind of turn it off for as long as we can. But in the meantime, we'll be back here in the next couple of days. And definitely, folks, appreciate you checking out Hard Border, and continuing to pump that up there and see what we saw a couple years ago. And obviously things are moving fast here, so there's just a lot more story to come. So appreciate it. And James, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Excellent, Bert. Thanks very much.
All right, talk to you.
Take care.
Bye now.